Hello and welcome to the first ever installment of the Kushmerek Connection. As a rookie host of a television show, you're now going to see me glance from time to time at my notes, but I'm excited to be joined by my first guest on this program. I was his first guest on his show. It is my friend and my colleague, Senator John Cronin.
Representative, so good to be here with you. I'm excited to be here for the first episode of the Kushmerek Connection. I was lobbying for connection to be spelled with a K, but I guess in this business you don't get everything you want.
Though I don't think you have too many rights to complain. I believe actually the show was named because of your effective lobbying.
We were spitballing some ideas, and I think Kushmerek Connection is the right way to go. So I'm excited.
No, I'm thrilled. Thank you for naming the show, and so it's fitting that you're my first guest here today, and excited to talk about. I think as we complete our first year in elected office. I think most folks think when you get to the state legislature, you've spent an entire career in either municipal elected office or that you've been moving towards elected office your entire life. And I think that's certainly far from the case with you. And you're for the first time serving in elected office. How did you get to this point? What made you decide that you wanted to pursue elected office?
It seemed like a good idea at the time, Mike. It really did. But this is my first time in elected office, but I've always felt compelled and been dedicated to public service. And I think that starts really just from growing up in my family. My parents always told me and my siblings, to whom much is given, much is required. And I always had a lot of opportunities, whether it was going to school or just having a great family. And this was a great place to grow up in this area. So always felt compelled to go into public service and give back and try to help others. And that's not different from a lot of our colleagues and yourself. So that started for me when I was, I think, 18 and went to West Point, commissioned in the infantry, served in Afghanistan, got to be a part of the Army, got to lead soldiers. And I remember when I was a young infantry officer and I was serving in Afghanistan, and I said, how am I ever going to do anything as impactful as this in the future? And that was kind of daunting as a 24-year-old because the work was important, it mattered, the stakes were high. And so, I knew when I got out of the Army, it was going to be hard to find something as meaningful and impactful. And I just got really lucky. I saw an opportunity to serve. It seemed 18 months ago, I guess, is when I threw my hat in the ring.
It's a bit of a blur at this point.
It feels
right?
like 10 years ago, right? I don't have any gray hairs yet, but they're coming. They're like very close.
You and me both. Yeah.
Right.
So the clock is ticking.
It's not the gray hairs I'm worried about. It's the hairline. Like that thing is like sliding backwards. But I had an opportunity to raise my hand and try to serve again, and I just couldn't be more thankful or optimistic about the work that we're doing together. And the ability to serve in the legislature and represent. I have 11 cities and towns here in north central Massachusetts. It's just a remarkable privilege. So I got lucky really one time being able to serve as an infantry officer, being able to deploy, but to be lucky twice and to find something I would argue is more impactful, and to be able to do that here where I grew up is really truly a privilege.
It's amazing. It's certainly new to elected office, but not new to public service by any stretch. So that said, almost 10 months on the job, I know I wake up every day and I'm excited to do this job, and I kind of feel like a child on Christmas morning of I can't believe I get to do this for a job every day. 10 months in, how's it going?
I love it, right? And I think much like you, every day is different. It's never boring. There's always something different, whether it's policy or politics coming across your table that you need to respond differently to. But I go back to my military experience and the experiences I had even before that as a kid growing up playing team sports. Politics, when it's working, is a team sport. And people have different agendas and people have different visions for where we should go on separate issues. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be effective, you need to be rowing together. And that's one thing that I am proud of. I think there is a collaborative approach among the delegation here in North Central that is uncommon, right? And that as we talk to our colleagues in the legislature, doesn't happen everywhere else, but I think it's so effective now and for us to kind of to lead in the future and address the challenges that are significant here in North Central and in Fitchburg.
That's exactly it. I think right now in politics, everyone's looking at, this is general feeling of dysfunction, that there's this lack of collaboration and that no one talks, and whether it's partisan or even within particular parties, that there's a level of dysfunction. We're not seeing that here. And in fact, I think it was one of the members of Governor Baker's administration coming out to Fitchburg and saying, wow, you guys are all in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. I think that's true here in Fitchburg, but I think we're seeing it throughout our entire North Central delegation.
Yeah, and I think specific to Fitchburg, too, there is a shared vision of where we need to go. A lot of investment in downtown, right, whether it's the theater block, more being able to support more projects like that New View community does. So I think it's incumbent on us to get the resources and make sure that we're putting resources and dollars behind that vision. But in terms of where we want to get to across local, state, and our federal partners, there's agreement about the way ahead, and so that's special. But there's also, I think, a burden on people like me and you, like, hey guys, you got to get out there and deliver, and so that keeps me going every day, and I know it keeps you going too.
Absolutely, and I think it is just so critical that collaboration and the partnership, and I think often it's usually a little bit of a joke, the divide between House and Senate, but when I speak to chairmen and chairwomen and members of leadership in the House, and they're like, it's usually how's the relationship with the senator?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's great. I couldn't have a better partner. And as far as I'm concerned, he's the first phone call I pick up when we talk about collaboration. And they're delighted to hear that. And
right.
it really is that, wow, okay, there's something special happening out in North Central Massachusetts. And it really, I think it's been a pleasant surprise for the members of our delegation. We're the only tripartisan regional delegation.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. No, we're special. We got Susie Whips, who's an independent from Athol. We've got Representative Harrington from Groton, Representative Ferguson, who we share Westminster and Sterling with. So, yeah, tripartisan's pretty special.
It's fun. It's a fun group, and I think we're effective, and I think we're having fun while we do it. But to your point, there's an expectation. We need to deliver, and we need to deliver big to address the needs of our region.
And I think it's an exciting time to be in the legislature, too. So there's a little bit more than $4.5 billion that right now, this fall, the House and the Senate are taking a hard look on how we're going to use those American Rescue Plan funds. And so working together and having those discussions in the House, in the Senate, and among ourselves in the delegation to how those dollars can best be brought and be most impactful to here in North Central is a good position to be. It's a much better position to be in than not having any dollars or facing budget shortfalls.
You're absolutely right. Speaking to Mayor DiNatale, there's always going to be, for every $1 we have available, there's $4 on the wish list.
Right.
That said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I don't know that these funds have been available, since maybe the days of Eisenhower or FDR.
Yeah, I think it's New Deal level
Absolutely.
investment in ourselves and here, in this country. So it's very exciting.
And so whether we look at, whether it's education or our infrastructure system or the water and wastewater and stormwater systems of our city and our region, this is really an opportunity that we'll soon have to look at and address some of these long-term needs.
Absolutely.
Great. So, again, 10 months on, any surprises so far in the job?
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm very grateful to what we've been able to do in terms of supporting programs here, specifically in Fitchburg. One thing that we worked together on that I know we're both committed to and we were successful at during this budget session was creating more career pathways, right? I think one shared vision
Absolutely.
and goal that we have is making sure that this is a great place to grow up, but to live, work, and to raise a family, and growing and sustaining our middle class. And for so many kids, that means access to a trade or access to work-based learning as a teenager. And I know one thing that I am very proud of that we worked on together was getting an earmark for Fitchburg High School to start an environmental sciences program and pathway, and in conjunction and working with the wastewater and water treatment people who are great partners here in Fitchburg. But I mean, that's just one example. It's one pathway of coordination between our high school, the administration and teachers there, our municipal workers, and creating pathways to skilled, high-paying careers for people in Fitchburg.
That's an opportunity for an 18-year-old to graduate directly into a middle-class job.
Absolutely.
While addressing a long-term need in our workforce right here at home.
Absolutely.
And another thing, that you really took the leadership on. You really spearheaded this, and proud that we were able to deliver this through the last year's budget for both Fitchburg and the sister city of Leominster. The mental health coordinator position within the public safety department. Can you talk a little bit about that process and what the long-term hope is here?
Sure. So I think we all know we have a mental health crisis here in North Central and across the Commonwealth. And the big picture is that we don't have enough inpatient or outpatient resources. We've got 2,800 beds in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that are licensed by DPH to provide inpatient psych services, but only 2,200 of them are staffed. So we have a huge workforce shortage on one side. And that's the supply. And then the demand during any one day is that there are 500 people boarding in our emergency rooms. It's unacceptable. We need to do better, and we need to address it. I think short term, we need to pay that workforce who are doing really difficult jobs, providing care to people in a mental health crisis, and specifically in inpatient and outpatient units more. And then long term, we need to invest in that workforce to make sure that we have the workforce for the future to provide that care. And those are big fights in the legislature, and they've got big dollar signs attached to them. But one thing that, again, we've worked on together in this budget is making sure that too many people enter our mental health treatment system in the back of a police car, and we know that. And we have great partners, and Chief Martineau and the Fitchburg Police do a remarkable job, but they answer really tough calls. And so in this year's budget, me and you were able to secure $75,000 for the Fitchburg Police to employ for the first time a mental health clinician. And that person is going to be involved in deploying on behavioral health calls, and then also in follow-up to connect families and people, connect them with services, which is so critical and so important.
Absolutely. And this may serve as the future model for policing and working with mental health and substance use across the Commonwealth.
Absolutely.
And Chief Martineau has been a leader in so many areas, and see no reason why this won't be the case here. And I know Chief Martineau is already excited. He'll soon be posting the position, and then from there, I've heard he's applying for a federal Department of Justice grant to keep that position, be able to move forward. And he said, he couldn't have done that without your leadership here. So, Senator, thank you for what you're doing on the topic of mental health and its intersection with policing and public safety.
Absolutely, and I think there's a feeling that we share, that we're at the beginning of this work. There's a lot more work to do, and it's going to keep us busy for a long time.
There's no silver bullet when it comes to mental health, and I think this is the perfect teaser. Episode 2, installment 2, and we have Representative Higgins from Leominster and Mock join us as guests. We'll really be focusing on exactly that, mental health in our region, and talking about the regional legislative task force focused on mental health that you and I are both leading. So excited for your partnership, excited for your leadership in this region, and I think all of North Central Massachusetts should be excited by your leadership. Thank you for your friendship and your collaboration, and excited to have you back on the show in year 2.
Thanks, Representative. Looking forward to the rest of season 1 and getting back on season 2. So
looking forward to it.
You bet.
All right. Joining me now after the break is Luisa Fernandez. Luisa, there's no easy way to describe what you do because you are so active in every facet of our community, from our public schools to volunteerism and civic duty. Thank you so much for joining me. Excited to hear more about what you're doing throughout the city of Fitchburg and our community.
Sure. No, thank you for having me. Actually, I'm very excited. And congratulations. I think this is a great way to honor our city, right? So, highlight the good things.
You're absolutely right. And FATV is such an amazing partner to work with, and they were really quite fun to work with in putting this program together and showcasing what we're doing in our community and who the amazing civic leaders are in our community, like yourself. And so I'm thrilled to be talking with you, and it's always terrifying hosting a show for the first time.
Being here too.
But we're getting through it together. And so I know you're not originally from Fitchburg. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah, do tell, please.
Well, I'm from Venezuela. Yes, I came here 6 years ago for a vacation, and well, we ended up staying. And I'm very happy to be here. Yeah. I'm very happy to be here. I love Fitchburg. To be honest, it wasn't like my first choice. I wasn't sure if I want to be here, but I start like getting involved in the community. I start working with different organizations, and I can picture my life now somewhere else. Like, I love Fitchburg. I'm gonna end my days here for sure.
I love to hear that, and I think that is so true. Not just today. I wasn't born and raised in Fitchburg either. I came and I had no idea this would be my future home. I came for what I thought would be a 4-year stay at Fitchburg State, and I, met the girl of my dreams and married her and fell in love with the city along the way. Like you, I can't picture myself anywhere else, and there's nowhere else I'd want to be. And I think that story is reiterated so many times in our community. Definitely. Of so many different stories of how people got here and the diverse fabric of our community.
Yes. So, I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. So you...
Can you repeat what you asked?
So you've been here about 6 years. And so what is it that made you get interested in... not only serving the public school system, but also becoming active in the community?
So I started working for Fitchburg Public Schools. So before that, I was working in factories, restaurants, waiting for my work permit, right? And I started working for Fitchburg Public Schools, and I started looking for, why this family is going through this, what we can do to solve this family situation, how we can support them. So I ended, getting in touch with Francisca Ramos, which is my mentor. With New View
Communities, right?
Yes. So I started participating here and there, and after a while, I was developing with him curriculums for the Stewards program.
Tell us a little bit about the Community Stewards program, because you're a recent graduate and now a leader in the program.
Yes. So my first one was the community one. I get my certificate, and then talking with Francisco about how important it is to get parents involved in the kids' education. I was like, let's do something about public education. Let's talk about rights, but let's talk about responsibilities too, right? Because we talk a lot about rights, but we need to talk about what we have to do as well, right? So he was like, yeah, let's do it. We put it together. Then we developed a curriculum about special education. And actually, a couple of weeks ago, we graduated an entire group of that has, the Steward program was based on public education, but it was in Spanish. Wonderful. So that's great, because we are including now even more people, and more people understand their rights, what they can do to improve their kids' education. So I'm very happy.
Inspiring civic duty and obligation at every level with our newest first generation of Fitchburg residents, and that's just amazing. Now the Community Stewards program, that's about a 6-month program that you go through all facets the first introductory series, right?
I think it's a 8-week program.
Okay.
It dependent of the topic, and yeah, it's so diverse. Like you have whatever you need there, like mental health. There is one about financial. There is one about environment. So yeah, it's for everyone.
That's wonderful. New View Communities does such an amazing job, really teaching and inspiring not only civic duty but community involvement and how to become a more responsible citizen on a global stage, but also right here in your own community. And with that, you got involved with our Fitchburg Public Schools, and tell us a little bit about both your work and then some of the new and exciting activities that you've been involved in.
Well, I am the Family and Community Coordinator for Fitchburg Public Schools, and what I want to create is, like a resource center for the families. That's what I want to do for them. I want to provide them information. I want to provide them the tools to improve their lives, right? Right now, we have events all the time around the schools. Actually, yesterday we have a supper market at Ringgold, so everybody received, token money. So they did a lot of activities about, money and nutrition. Growing Places was there. Rolston Bank with their program was there. Week, Community Health Connection, the Nutrition Department from Hannaford. So it was an incredible activity, and we that's what I want. I want the families come to the school, they have fun, they can take home food, but resources, information. We are having during nights English classes for parents.
That's amazing.
We enroll in the last session around 90 parents. So everyone is going to receive a certificate.
So 90 parents learning English.
Learning English, yes.
So while their children are going to school during the day, they're going to school at night?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's virtual. It's very convenient because it's during nights and it's virtual, so you can stay home, you can take care of your kids, but you are learning. So actually, it's been a beautiful experience, like not just for me, but I know for them and for the teachers, and everybody is very, very excited about the next session already. I have a waiting list, so we're gonna for sure continue this program for the school.
Well, and now noticing a theme here, you're speaking about not only providing people with the resources they need to be successful, and educating and inspiring that new interest and involvement in the community. Are you seeing that parents are getting more invested in their children's education? And
Definitely. Our priority right now is keeping everyone safe, right? So that's why we are providing information about vaccines all the time. We are motivating parents and children to get vaccinated. We wanna. This is a hard time, right?
Yes.
We wanna as well meet their educational needs, right? Yeah. We wanna the schools now. We even hire right now more ELL teachers, more support.
And that's English language learners?
Yes, because our Hispanic community here is huge.
Absolutely.
Right? So
nearly 70% of our students in Fitchburg Public Schools are either Spanish speakers or students of color, correct?
Yes. So we are working very hard on that. Everybody needs to feel welcome. Everybody needs to feel part of the school. So that's why we are offering all these tools so they can learn and they can feel, part of our district, right?
And just remarkable work, because Luisa, all the time we talk about how teachers are asked to do everything in the classroom, and not just in the classroom, everything as a part of the life of a student. And I think often as legislators, we find it really a daunting task to try to legislate. How do we fix that? How do we fix teachers being asked to do everything? And we can't legislate parents being more involved.
No.
But you're getting at the heart of everything that I think the legislature and so many others in elected and maybe public life have been really struggling with. You're inspiring parents and giving them the tools and resources necessary for them to succeed and for their children to succeed. And I think that's the winning formula.
At this point, we yeah, we care about education, but we care about the family need, the entire family need.
Absolutely.
Right? We are connecting parents all the time with the newbie community so they can support them with housing information. They go through the process with them. So, you know, it definitely is working.
Absolutely.
It's working.
Well, Luisa, this was a no-brainer for me. You're the first non-elected guest on my show. And we deliberately did that. I thought of who is the most positive person who's involved in our community in Fitchburg. And you were the first person that we decided. It was like Luisa, of course. She's excited and she's doing so much in our community. And I think the best part of my job these first 10 months is to thank people who are doing just amazing work. They don't get to stand at the podium often. But they make such an amazing impact in the community, and I don't think we do a good enough job thanking the people who are involved in our community. And so I worked with my colleagues in the legislature, and we have a citation right here from the Massachusetts House of Representatives. And so this reads right here: the Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Luisa Fernandez in recognition of your advocacy, civic participation, and community impact in your work with the Fitchburg Public Schools. Additionally, for the critical work that you have done to engage new demographics and populations in the city of Fitchburg. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Given this first day of October 2021 at the State House in Boston, Massachusetts, this is signed by Ronald Mariano, Speaker of the House, and offered by myself. Luisa, thank you so much for everything that you do.
This is amazing. I wasn't expecting this.
It is.
It means a lot for me, but you know, this is my call. I'm doing what I am passionate about. My community and the kids come first, and that's why it's easy. Yeah. And it's not just me. It's a bunch of people behind me, you know, pushing me and telling me, yes, let's do it together. Let's work together. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. And that's the story of Fitchburg, right?
Yes.
We're a community that support each other.
That's why I'm here. There is always someone helping you. So
we are so fortunate to have you in our community, and I cannot wait for the next thing that you do, and I can't wait to continue partnering with you. Again, the city of Fitchburg is lucky to have you.
Thank you.
We're all lucky to have you.
Thank you.
And so to our audience at home, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching the first ever episode of the Kushmerek Connection. Tune in next month as we'll have State Representative Natalie Higgins from Leominster joining us, as well as a member of the team from Mock, and we're going to be focusing on regional mental health throughout North Central Massachusetts. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next month.